Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is going to be pretty short, but I want to share with you what we are reading for Black History Month. And I have a book that I'm reading by myself and then several that we're reading together as a family. So I'm going to share those with you, and here we go. The first book that I'm reading just for me is Ya Gyasi's Homegoing. I actually got this from the library, and this is all over people talking about it, but it's so good. I'm about a third of the way through, so I'm going to read from the dust jacket just so I don't mess up like my explanation of the book. A novel of breathtaking sweep and emotional power that traces 300 years in Ghana and along the way becomes a truly great American novel. Two half-sisters, Effia and Essie, are born into different villages in 18th century Ghana. Effia is married off to an Englishman and lives in comfort in the palatial rooms of Cape Coast Castle. Unbeknownst to Effia, her sister, Essie, is imprisoned beneath her in the castle's dungeons, sold with thousands of others into the Gold Coast's booming slave trade, and shipped off to America, where her children and grandchildren will be raised in slavery. And it follows the descendants of them through centuries of warfare in Ghana. And then the other thread follows Essie and her children into America, from plantations of the South to the Civil War, and the Great Migration from the coal mines of Pratt City, Alabama, to the jazz clubs and dope houses of the 20th century Harlem, right up through the present day. So reading this for myself, and it covers from, like it said, the 18th century all the way to today. It's really good. Very much for an adult, and I love that the author herself was born in Ghana and she was raised in Huntsville, Alabama. So there she is. Really like it. Great so far. The next book is one that we already finished, and it is John Lewis's. This is a graphic novel series. There's 3 books in the series. They just read the first one so far, but really liked it. And again, my kids are in 9th and 6th grade. It's March, and it tells the story of John Lewis, our congressperson who died last year. He was also a civil rights activist. This is his story, and it's really great. I'm going to read from the dust jacket again. It says, Congressman John Lewis is an American icon and one of the key figures of the civil rights movement. His commitment to justice and nonviolence has taken him from an Alabama sharecropper's farm to the halls of Congress, from a segregated schoolroom to the 1963 March on Washington, and from receiving beatings from state troopers to receiving the Medal of Freedom from the first African American president. Now to share his remarkable story with new generations, John Lewis presents March, a graphic novel trilogy. And it's co-written with a good, really great author and some really great illustrators. So it's in graphic novel form. I'll show you a few of the pictures. The whole thing is in black and white. And it really just takes you kind of from the beginnings of the civil rights movement on through. Now, I will say, obviously, there's going to be racial slurs used throughout the book. These people, like he was, called names, and treated not great. So that is in here. So I would say for older kids, it's really good. It's a true account of what really happened. So we loved it. And so that's our second book. Or their first book, my second book. The next one is the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, and so good. And he wrote this himself. That's what I love about it. Autobiography, sort of, like part of it, part of his story. But I'll read from this one. They are loving this. It is sad, obviously, but so good. This eloquent and dramatic autobiography of the early life of an American slave was first published in 1845 when its author was 28 years old and had just achieved his freedom. Although it was not uncommon during the era of American slavery for articulate black people who escaped to have their experiences published, narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass is unique among these slave narratives because of Douglass's eloquent power of expression. The publication of the book also marked the beginning of a career in which the militant and uncompromising Douglass emerged as the first great leader of the Afro-Americans in the United States. The powers that enabled him to reach this position are abundantly clear in his narrative, which, incidentally, was an invaluable source for Harriet Beecher Stowe while she was writing Uncle Tom's Cabin. So it's his story, written by him. Really good, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's great. I would say I think middle school up, but again, read it first if you're not sure. But really, really good. And the next one, it looks like a little kid book, but it's really good. And I wanted my kids to read not just about the civil rights movement and kind of slavery. I really want them to have a feel for like African Americans who've like done other great things in the world. So this just released from the Good and the Beautiful library. It's the story of Mae Jemison. So let me read you about this one, and I'll show you a few pictures inside. Young Mae Jemison was a dreamer. While most girls were expected to become nurses or teachers, Mae just knew she would one day become an astronaut. Fascinated by science and the night sky, Mae pushed through the obstacles before her to become the first female African-American astronaut. People everywhere will be inspired by this story of aspiration, determination, and grit, and will discover that they can achieve anything they can conceive. So that's her story, and it's really cool. There she is. This is at the very end. It tells you about her, and I'll show you some of the cool pictures. It's really good. I hope that it's not too much of a glare. I can't see. So you can see there is quite a bit of, there's a lot to read. But it does look like a book for a little kid, but my 14-year-old, he's now 15, he turned 15 like a week ago, he will like this too. So we're going to read this aloud. We're doing like a space unit to go along with it for science. So that is this one. So good. So that is the story of Mae Jemison. And again, from the Good and the Beautiful. If it's in stock, I'll link it. Really, really great. So I hope you enjoyed our picks for Black History Month. I'm going to hold them up again. And this one. And I'd love to hear what you're reading in your homeschool for Black History Month. Please, 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 if there is any person of color that watches my videos, please, I'd love your recommendations. I know that a lot of people watch probably the Oglesby Ohana on YouTube. I'll try to link her page. I don't know if I can or not. She has some really great picks for younger kids. Her kids are young. And her picks were really great. But if you have any that you love, please share them with me. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.